All right, it is Monday, June 16, 2025. I am recording a short video on the recent program delivery update from May 28, 2025 on wage reviews for foreign workers. My name is Stephen Mearns, by the way. I am a partner at Larley Rosenberg. Normally we try to do these as live streams, but we have a bit of a time crunch today. And so I'm just recording this video to provide a brief overview of the program delivery update. As we've discussed on other updates, the program delivery updates are updates to IRCC guidance on the administration of their programs. So these are instructions to visa officers. And in this case, it's about when foreign workers can get wage increases. So in the context of a labor market impact assessment, the IRCC guidelines note that employers are responsible for ensuring that they remain in compliance of their LMIA letter, as well as the annexes and the Immigration Refugee Protection Act. Appropriate action must be taken for any employer who wants to change any of these terms. Now, immigration authorities won't reapprove or reassess previously issued LMIAs, and they don't typically, although there are exceptions, provide authorization for a change in these documents. The way that they generally determine whether terms have been complied with is through inspections. Employers whose non-compliance is unjustified may be subject to consequences ranging from a warning, an administrative monetary penalty, or a ban from hiring foreign workers. Now, the big thing that's sort of been consistently applied now and was the subject of this wage review is how employers and how the law regards raises to foreign workers, which is a complicated topic because obviously employers who get multi-year LMIAs want to be able to give their employees raises like they would any other Canadian. It's not as simple, however, with foreign workers. And so there are certain raises that don't need to be reported, as well as, so they say here, increase to wages that is equal to or less than the highest of either 2%, the prevailing wage for the position, or the rate of inflation. And the rate to be used this year is 2.4%. Any increase beyond this may require a new labor market impact assessment. The other minor modifications that don't need to be reported is if the raise is to be done to comply with, say, an increase to minimum wage standards, as well as small changes in job duties that don't impact the NOC code. Something that is important to note when it comes to the prevailing wage is that employers do have an obligation to make sure that in the labor market impact assessment context, their raises to the foreign worker are always given to ensure that prevailing wage is met. And employers can go to the job bank to look up what the prevailing wage is. And so if we look at the example of cook, the employer would need to just always check that they are paying the median wage to their employee on an LMIA in the geographic area that the employee is working in. Some stuff that may need a new LMIA, some stuff that must be reported but may not require a new LMIA. Administrative errors such as spelling mistakes, changes in contact information. If the foreign worker is laid off, takes a leave of absence, is deported, or the job offer is canceled. This is in the foreign worker program. These needs to be reported to Service Canada. Changes in work location, but no change in the employer. And then for the GTS stream, changes in work location only where the foreign worker's wages remain above prevailing wage. Service Canada can be contacted at the call center. They'll say whether a new LMIA they won't say whether a new LMIA is needed, but they will just take the information in. Changes that do need to be reported and likely result in a new LMIA, changes in job duties that change the NOC code, where there's a change in employer, which includes assigning workers to another site, even where wages are being paid by the original employer, any decrease in wages, wages that increase beyond the rate stated above, 2% prevailing wage or the rate of inflation, changes in benefits, changes in the hours worked, where in the global talent stream, a change in location results in prevailing wage not being met. Changes that would result to a new LMIA stream in its entirety, where transition plans aren't complied with, and a change in the educational requirements of the position. I've never seen this. I don't quite know where this would arise, that an employer who has employees working in a position, presumably successfully, would determine that there needs to be a change in educational requirements, but I guess it's happened before. They wouldn't have felt the need to include that. Employers who aren't compliant can voluntarily disclose their non-compliance. And again, here's more on wage review. I think this is actually the program delivery update, and it gets into what is prevailing wage. So before I mentioned that this website that lists the median wage for all employees, but it's also, there's the job bank one, but it's also the wage that is paid by an employer to its employees who have similar experience and are working in the same position. So in other words, if say an employer has 5 cooks, one's a foreign worker, and all the Canadian cooks get their wage increased from say $20 to $22 an hour, the foreign worker also has to have their wage increased by that amount. And that's basically it. There's the requirement, again, every year employers need to review and reassess whether they are still paying the prevailing wage. And that is the gist of the program delivery update, the most significant part. Thank you for watching. Once again, we aren't doing a live stream today just because of time commitments. But I hope this has been valuable in understanding when, as an employer, you can or cannot give wages to your foreign worker or change their duties or make modifications to their terms of employment or anything like that. You can contact me or anyone at the firm if you have questions about this. And otherwise, yeah, thanks for watching.